Week 2 of Salvation's Edge Challenge Mode is out. This week, the triumph is called At Capacity, and the challenge is on the second encounter, the Herald of Finality. This one's actually pretty straightforward, unlike last week where it was a weird loop. In this challenge, all you need to do is avoid dunking with less than 3 resonance into the box, which starts the damage phase. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this, and I'll go into it in a second, but I do want to note that survival is key for this encounter, because if even one person dies at a particular time, that could just wipe the entire encounter, assuming you're trying to get the challenge done, especially on Master. Speaking of Master, the main change to this encounter between normal and Master is that you will get Overload Champion spawning in the middle instead of just regular Knights. Because of this, I highly recommend running Overload Sword, just so you can deal them very easily and quickly. Plus, for this boss in particular, swords are by far and away the easiest and best to use on this boss. Obviously, you can kill with other stuff like Still Hunt, for example, but swords are just turn your brain off mode and press M1, plus you can stun overload, so it just makes the most sense. Now, for challenge, like I said, there's 2 ways of doing this, but I'm also going to break down a big tip during the Conduit portion of this fight that a lot of people still don't know about, and it can help them a lot, especially on Master, where everything just wrecks you very quickly. So, you've started off the fight as normal, you kill the ads, you kill the yellow bar. Next portion normally is the Reckoning part, where the teammate goes in the middle. Instead, what you want to do is keep them at home base for now, and then start doing your ping system between the plate and the conduit. The reason for this is that you're going to ping this 5 times in order to summon all your resonances, but you're not going to pick up any resonances while you're doing this, because if you don't, you can summon all of them and not have any enemies spawn on you, so you can freely summon all of them, not have to worry about running and getting one, getting back to the plate, getting killed by a Scion, blah blah blah. It's just free. After 5 plates have been touched, you just end the chain, have your yellow bar spawn in, quickly kill them, and then move on to the rest of the fight with the Reckoning. After doing the Reckoning portion, getting Stolen Favor, you just go back to your home base and then read whatever your conduit says for the symbol. Once you have the call out for the conduit, the person that's going to be closing the conduit on each side just needs to make sure they hold one of the correct resonance shape. That's it. Just one. So for example, if I'm in the middle and I come back to the conduit and I say it's triangle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one single triangle, and that's it. Then my teammate picks up 3 of whatever, because they're not closing, so it doesn't matter what they get, and then we can close our conduit. He's going to send, I'm going to shoot my thing, step on, our conduit is now locked, and I've cleansed the single resonance that I've had. Now, I don't have any resonance, and my teammate has 3. Now, the other 2 teams do the exact same thing. They end with a player having 3 and 0, and then at this point, everyone's locked, and you can run to the middle to start the damage phase by dunking into the box. Simply just have all the players with 3 resonance dunk in the box, and then you're good for damage. And in case you're curious why 3 players have 0 resonance, it's because if you have less than 3, then you can't dunk or it's challenge failed, and if you don't dunk, you will die from resonance eventually. This way, your 1 resonance is gone, you don't have to worry about a timer, and you just continue into the next phase, assuming the boss hasn't been 1-phased. And at that point, you just rinse repeat the process, and then you'll be done once the boss dies, hopefully in a second damage phase. Now, if your team is struggling and you're going slow and you need more time, there is a second variant to this strat in order to complete challenge while also dunking more of the resonances. In the second variant, what you do is you have 2 of the 3 conduits locked up, and then have players from those locked up conduits come over to the final 3rd one and each pick up an extra resonance, so that 5 players total will have 3 resonance, and then the 1 player closing the last conduit still only holds 1 single resonance. They conduit lock, they lose their resonance, and then 5 players will go dunk in the middle to have your resonance timer go up to the maximum amount. That way you don't have like a minute to deal with the second phase and probably wipe. So it just basically comes down to how efficient your team is. If you're going really fast and you do very good damage on the first phase, you can do the first strategy that I mentioned. If you're going slow and you need a little bit more extra time, then you can do the 5-player dunk strat and get a bit more time for phase 2. And that is the challenge portion of this fight. Now, lastly, I want to do a couple more normal quote-unquote tips for Master for people that are going to do it for the Triumph. Number 1, for the love of God, if you're not the galley sword user, spoiler alert, swords are the best on him, please put on forbearance for the ad clearing. My goodness, the amount of people I see struggle and die to ads and get overwhelmed because they don't want to put on forbearance is comical. Not only does forbearance clear entire rooms besides the yellow bar and the knight, forbearance also heals you, right? Healing is the name of the game. You never want to be critical health, because then even one single thing shoots you and you die. Forbearance solves that perfectly. It ad clears like a machine, and then in your top slot, you can put on whatever you want to kill the yellow bar and the orange bar. Personally, me, I put on Outbreak Perfected, not because it's like the best possible option for chunky damage, but because it builds my Transcendent stacks really, really fast, and it still does decent damage. And lastly, DPS for the boss. There's a couple of things you can use on him that work, but I personally think the best method for most people is going to be just swords. You just turn your brain off, pop a well, get in the boss's face, and then swing M1 or whatever your light attack is on controller over and over and over again until the boss phase ends and he goes immune. So yeah, swords are great damage, they're great ammo economy, you have Relentless to regen ammo as well. If you're in his face, he doesn't teleport like he normally would if you're using a crit sniper or a linear or whatever, so there's a plus on that as well. And like I said, you just turn your brain off, you M1, and you can comfortably two-phase him to just get the challenge done and over with. Hopefully this guide helps you get your challenge done, whether it's normal or master, and if you do enjoy the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated, and if you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to comment, you can leave challenge as the comment. Thanks for watching, catch you next time.